Good morning. And welcome to the February 27, 2025 meeting of the Fitchburg Housing Authority. I now call this meeting to order. Please be advised that FATV is conducting audio and video recording of this meeting for public broadcast. I ask that if anyone in the audience was recording this meeting, please identify themselves for the record now by standing and stating their name and city of residence. At this time, I ask that all electronic devices be placed in silent mode. At this time, we will have public comment. I invite anyone in the audience who wishes to speak. Please stand, identify yourselves by name and city of residence, and identify the agenda item on which you would like to speak, and that you may speak on it for not more than 2 minutes. They see none, anyone wishing to speak? We'll now move on to our regular agenda. Okay, at this time, I will do a roll call vote for a quorum requirement. Commissioner Hughes here. Commissioner Goodwin here.
Commissioner Bussolio here.
Commissioner Swain here.
Thank you. All right, this time we will move further. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Boschman right now to introduce our new employees and to take us from Mr. Boschman.
Sure. Thank you. I'm going to have Bruce Budrick stand and our two new maintenance employees. If you could introduce us.
My name is Bruce Fitchburg, Director of Maintenance and Facilities, and we've been adding to our maintenance team to get some things done around here. So I'm thrilled to introduce two new maintenance staff that we have just recently became permanent. They were temporary, and they became permanent employees. So first of all, Marcus, why don't you tell us a little bit about your work history of being here with Fitchburg Housing?
So I was born and raised in Fitchburg. Started my work history through maintenance my whole life. I started in Central Village in Livingston. Was my first maintenance job. Then I moved to the school system. I ended up leaving there and coming here, and very comfortable and like
Glad to have you on board. And Nelson, could you also?
I grew up in Fitchburg. I'm very in New York. Don't hold that against me. Been in construction since I was 18 years old. I've done all different types of jobs. Been here about 6-7 months. I really like it here. Different than what I've done before, but starting to get, used to things that go on around there.
All right. Well, thank you both for coming on board, and we're really thrilled to have you. And so with that.
Where are they assigned most of the time?
Okay, so what we do with the maintenance is we actually have an elderly section, we have a family section. What we do is right now we have Nelson has been over the family section and Marcus has been at the elderly section. But what we do is we switch them around once in a while so they can become familiar with all the properties. And so that's where they're assigned out. There will be a time where we swap them around a little bit, so that when they're on call, for example, they know everything about the facility. So it works out really good for us, but it's been a real big help getting our vacancies caught up, getting our inspection work orders done. So we're thrilled to have the maintenance staff building up a little bit. Of course, I always want more, but we're thrilled to have 12 now.
So congratulations. They had 2 interviews for the board. Congratulations. Congratulations. You're a great asset to the organization. And we love having starting out as temps to see how they work out. And they went through a 2-phase interview process, and which involves Bruce, Andrew, and the foreman, and then my interview with them. And great attitude. They're hungry for the work, and they appreciate what we offer to our employees. Thank you. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Get to work.
I want to thank Andrew, the ID badges. All employees now have ID badges, even me. I'm the last one I got when I received one. It's hanging up. I do have one. But that's something that Andrew and Alicia were working on. We bought the equipment, and every employee now has they cannot enter an occupied unit or interact with our customers unless they have an ID badge. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. No, you go over it.
I have one more new employee to introduce, temporary employee Genesis, if you like, and Damaris would like to stand. And one of our employees, one of our longtime employees moved on to another position. We wished her very well. We did a quick look, and Damaris Pizarro is a temporary tenant selection lease coordinator. She's been working with Genesis, and she's worked out very well. She's been here for a couple of weeks, and I just want introduce them to the board because I would hate for tenants to call you and say, "Who's this new person doing my certifications?" But Damaris has been a real asset to the organization these past couple of weeks, and welcome aboard, Damaris.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's it for new employees. And if you want to approve this in the minutes, Mr. Chair?
Okay, I thought you were going to tell me.
We were still waiting for some more.
Still waiting for some more, okay, all right.
You're welcome aboard.
Okay, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the FOT regular board meeting held on January 29th, 2005.
So,
Motion been made by Commissioner Goodwin and seconded by Commissioner Spillane. And any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Moving to page 4-5 of my report, item number 4, motion to approve proposed amendments to bylaws, removal of officers.
Now the motion to approve amendments of the bylaws. So moved.
Second.
Motion been made by Commissioner Goodwin, seconded by Commissioner Vasilio. Any questions on the motion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Same page, number 5, notice of proposed bylaw changes, clarification of creation of subcommittees and advisory committees.
I entertain a motion on the.
This is not a motion, this is a notice, and we'll be moving on to the next meeting.
Okay, we'll move that.
Per the bylaws, Mr. Chair, any proposed bylaw changes has to be presented to the board first, and then at the next board meeting, they can be voted on. I don't know if the deputy chair want to make any comments or Commissioner Spillane on the proposed bylaw changes.
Sure, just to make sure everybody's up to speed. The bylaw regarding committees, we've been using the wrong verbiage for a while now. We had advisory committees, not subcommittees. And the current bylaw does not touch on how we create those committees, when we vote on them, stuff like that. So we went through, the bylaws committee went through, we kind of rewrote that bylaw to be a little more sensible and a little more direct. Changes, we will be revoting boards in every January, same as we do with officers, which was not spelled out originally. Originally, the chair was required to be on the construction committee. We're not making that a requirement. The new bylaw would make that not a requirement. The chair would have the option to be on the committee before anyone else, but if they turn it down, they won't have to be. And we're also going to create a third standing committee. Right now, we have the construction and the labor committees. We're going to create the tenant committee, which we're thinking we're going to call the tenant policy committee. The tenant rep will be guaranteed to be on that, and then whoever else wants to be. The key thing there is we're looking for a committee that's going to do a policy that affects tenants. It's not a committee to hear tenant complaints or anything of that sort.
Right.
And the initial idea we picked around is the first project we'll be working on a tenant handbook to be given to every tenant when they move in. So when we vote on this next month, if we vote to approve this, we will be creating the tenant policy committee at the same time. Janice will be on it. I'll be happy to be on it, but of course it's open to anyone on the board. And that is basically the nuts and bolts of the newly proposed bylaw.
Commissioner Swin.
I had suggested the tenant handbook because I had looked at other websites for the housing authorities, and some of them do have a handbook on their website. It's usually like 10 pages long, and it just references who you call for a work order, where you can park, what to do in the snow, just all the day-to-day things that happen with tenants that they say, well, gee, I didn't know that. And
Right.
the response typically is, it's in the lease, but I don't know if anybody's ever seen this. But it just gives a nice snapshot of what can and can't be done. And I'd like to, after we get something together, maybe enlist Genesis to kind of look it over and see if she thinks of something we may have missed, and it would certainly be board approval. But I think it's needed, and I think it should be on the website and given to tenants when they move in, so they know what's what. The website does have a lot of policies on it that pertain to tenancy, air conditioning policy, and different things, but I think they need something a little more that they can reference easier.
Right. Does that cover tenants' rights as well?
It can.
It can, okay.
Concord, Mass, their housing authority has a really nice tenant handbook. Not everything, it's not on their website. Not everything pertains to us,
Right.
but it gives a good idea of what
The
you can.
blueprint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Maybe, is it possible maybe we can get one of their books from each one of the commissioners?
You could print it off their
Look at
website.
it, you know, before we,
Janice and I, obviously this came out of the bylaws conversation, which the committee we both are on. Basically, my thoughts are, whenever this committee comes to exist, the people on it will collect, 4, 5, 6 that are available publicly. Kind of look at it and say, this we like, this we don't like, we're not sure like this, and try and synthesize it into one thing that works for us. And that would be basically the mission of the tenant policy committee initially. And once whoever's on it has come up with a handbook, then we can sort of branch out and see if there's other places we can improve policy to make our tenants' lives better.
I also like to ask a question. Is there what's your thought process around adding public safety, not a public safety, kind of a safety advisory committee? Saying that we have a new chief in Fitchburg, a new police chief and things like that. So I didn't know kind of either look at an advisory committee around safety, around our locations, something like that. You know what I mean?
You can form those committee, advisory committees.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a purely a board decision, and I have nothing, I find no objection to that procedurally or policy that comes to my mind.
Okay.
And the keys, that's one of the keys about this, you had mentioned this to me previously. Yeah. One of the key things about the new bylaw is that it has the old bylaw had was just said the board can create committees.
Right.
Didn't say how, when, what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
The new bylaw addresses directly what, like the process of creating a committee.
Okay.
And essentially anyone on the board, and it would be like any other motion. Like if you want us to have one,
Right.
and say you want that one, and we go on. So it gives a pretty clear procedure for doing it.
And as we create, as advisory committees are created, you don't have to necessarily change the bylaw, as long as it's a permanent, then we could always wait till next January to do that. But yeah, you can create as many advisory committees or subcommittees or.
And one of the keys to me with revoting membership every January isn't to say you shouldn't be on a committee anymore. Right. Rather say if we created a committee 3 years ago that we haven't, nobody's done anything in 18 months. Like right now, we technically live in Irvine and I are on our father opportunities for whole community. Right. Which we created when we were looking into how we were going to get involved. That committee doesn't necessarily have a lot of value right now, but they're involved. Right. And it's a major thing. So we can officially say, okay, that committee doesn't exist anymore. Right. Or redefine scope for whatever we want to do. Right. Open.
All right. Thank you.
Moving on to item number 6 on page 5, my report, motion approval of advisory committee members.
I have a motion to approve the advisory committee members.
So
Second.
Motion been made by Commissioner Goodwin, second by Commissioner Basilio. Any questions on the motion?
to be perfectly clear, I believe that the opportunity for hope meeting last month, we figured out that we weren't entirely sure who was on what committees. With Cam's help, I went through various minutes, starting with the November meeting, I think, maybe September. And with some of the committees, it's really straightforward. So Dave and I are on the construction committee. And then Dave and Janice are the labor committee. But technically speaking, me, Dave, and Janice are all the bylaws committee. We have 2 separate votes with 2 separate outcomes. So the plan here is just to revote so everything's, who's doing what. So my recommendation would be, the motion would be that we vote for commissioners, Basilio, are the labor committee. Yeah. Commissioners Basilio and Goodwin are the construction committee, and commissioners Goodwin and Spillane are the bylaws committee. There are only 3 committees in there. And then as we create more, we can update that. But this gives us like, and we'll write this down, and this will be forever memorial. Who's on my committee.
So then he'll put that officially in writing, so, the executive director and assistant can also have that.
We'll have a piece of paper on the court
And a court
that has everything.
Yeah, signature.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other comment? Okay, all in favor? Motion carried.
Mr. Chair, if we can move on to the next item and then move on to our introducing our guests.
Okay.
So that would be on page 6, item 7 of my board report, motion to select and approve FHA Board of Commissioners meeting dates and locations for fiscal year 25, calendar year 25. This was tabled from last month. We reviewed it, made the necessary changes.
Okay, may I have a motion?
Absolutely.
Second.
Motion been made by Commissioner Goodwin, seconded by Commissioner Spillane. Any comments, questions on the motion? All right, seeing none. All in favor? All right, motion carries.
And I wanted to do this motion before I introduce our guest because I have Wallace Tower as our July meeting date, so hopefully the first floor will be completed, gentlemen. You're on notice, okay? I got a July. I want to thank Dan Chen, our architectural firm, George Wackendorf, if I pronounced that correctly, his representatives are coming here today to discuss the Wallace Tower project. And I have to say, and Bruce, if you will jump in, I have to say, this is over a $20 million project. And Andrew, myself, and Bruce, we work on $50,000 projects that cause us more headaches than this project. And it really goes to the professionalism of your team that you have. And it's gone too smoothly. I'm waiting for George to call me and say, no, we got it wrong. But HLC, Bob Watt, our representative, we comment among ourselves how this is going fantastic. We have a phenomenal architectural firm, and I've caused Dan Chen a lot of anxiety over the years on this project. Dan, let's do this, and he's always told, okay, and, things always have come through, but we have a really phenomenal team. And I want to thank, Jordan Hughes, our relocation coordinator who works on the construction projects, and Bruce Frederick for leading this team. And I told our construction design team that the board wanted to meet everybody and solicit any comments and feedback, but it's been going phenomenally well. And I have to say, I am so impressed with the work that you've been doing. And you're on a very professional crew that you have. And trust me, we know it's all about the team that you build. Yeah. You can have the best computers, the best system. If you don't have great staff people, the best plans will not be executed. And George, it's a testament to your leadership and your management skills to build this team that we're at.
And it all starts with these guys too, because they're on day-to-day boots on the ground, organizing, making sure that things are going smoothly. If there are issues, they do bring it up, and I try to get them corrected before there's any real issues. So, and just working with your staff and Dan and getting answers, and obviously construction isn't a perfect industry, so there are things that come up, and just the attentiveness and ability to make decisions has been amazing, so.
And I have not received any complaints about the tenants about your performance. And they're even saying that the noise from the hammering is a testament that things are getting done. And I said, because I told a couple, if I didn't hear hammering, then we got a problem.
Right.
And we want to hear that. Bruce, did you want to?
I would just reiterate, that this project has worked smoothly, and I just want to stress that the communication is really what's been very good. There's been some things that came up one of the change orders we're approving is we opened up some walls to do some electrical work, and when we did, we found some plumbing issues, and so when I saw that, we brought that to their attention. They had engineers right there. The engineers looked at it, and we all agreed that, yeah, we should do this project while these walls are opened up and replace some valves and things. You're going to see some things like that. When you have an old building like this, there's always some hidden things you find that we need to address while we're doing this project. So, the way they responded when there was needs like that was, also a testament to, working with them and how smooth it's going. So we'll have some more changes, I'm sure, but thankfully we communicate well, and we check all the boxes and make sure we get it done right. Thank you, guys.
Does the board have any questions? We have a couple of motions regarding this project that we could jump to during this segment. And Dan, did you want to say anything?
Well, I thought I was here to answer questions.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting project. We were involved with about 4 years ago. I remember this room when we interviewed for this project. So got to know the tenants a bit, we got to know the building. We had a great general contractor team. So, and I think the state has been very supportive in terms of anything that comes out. Some of these are not small items, particularly like building this own concrete is challenging. So it has been interesting and a great team to work with. So thank you.
Because Dan's been a great partner, and I think, Dan, we're going to give you a unit and wall so it's over with. You deserve that, okay? But he's
Make it penthouse.
Dan's been the prime representative from his firm, and from the exterior, air source heat pumps, into the interior. And I do remember the interview process, and we're glad we picked a phenomenal design team. That's really where it begins. And we pushed through some big modifications over the years, and during the whole crisis with the pump. Dan's letter to the state was really what solidified getting us the extra funds to make sure that we executed the final contract. And Dan, you've been a great partner in this. So I leave this up to the board if you have any questions of the construction design team. And
I got a question. How many carpenters do you have on a job? Because I know you're union.
I don't, do you know what the count is? I think we're right around a dozen right now.
How many local guys working on a job? Any trades?
So the steward is local, and I think there's 2 other carpenters that are local to this area. The other ones are all company guys, and then we do have a couple of laborers that live in Leominster, or is it Townsend, Leominster and Townsend. And there's some other guys that are in and out with the subcontractors, like Ayotte and King is from out this way. So there's some of the file subs also employ guys that are local to Fitchburg. And
Nice. Keep the money here.
Exactly.
Spend your money here. Cool.
Mrs. Swain?
Yeah, I've talked to some of the tenants over Wallace House, and they say that your crew is always very nice and very polite to them. So they don't really mind the noise and stuff. You know that you guys are very nice citizens, and I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And if you hear otherwise, just let us know, but we understand utmost respect for everybody. So absolutely.
If these two are happy, I'm happy.
Yeah, okay. That's all right. First of all, I want to thank you all for you know, being, willing to take on this project. You know, it's never easy, especially when you talk about old structures, and the fear of the unknown. When you get in there, you say, oh boy, this is better than, I thought it was gonna be. So I really appreciate you all joining, being a part of our team and trying to make this facility the best facility we can make it for the tenants that live there. My question is, going forward, and I know there's always an unknown, but are there any things that you could see like, man, this, because given your experience, like this could be a problem down the road. This might be an issue.
So the nice thing about how this has been phased and compliments to Dan and his staff and facility and just knowing that let's do one phase, let's get all the problems kind of uncovered and out of the way. So phase 2 and phase 3 should almost replicate themselves. So I think for the most part, unless Mark or Gary can see anything else forthcoming, we've uncovered a lot of the old bones of the building and the issues that you don't see when you just walk into a unit, you rip the walls down, valves are failing, studs were framed incorrectly, no blocking. So I think we've addressed almost all issues in phase 1 that we will come across in phase 2 and phase 3. So everybody's prepared to open up walls and see probably the same exact things. And we've all come up with a collective decision on what to do and how to take care of it.
Okay.
Anything that you can foresee otherwise?
No, I would agree. I think the only thing you might be seeing is some of the issues that came up. Like the plumbing was priced out for all 3 phases. Some other of the unforeseen work we did just price as phase 1 change orders. So you're going to see a repeat of change orders on certain things, or it may be a different, a more cost-effective way that Dan comes up with that he has his price. But other than that, I think we've uncovered everything. I've kind of gone through the whole first floor that are later phases, and I don't really see any huge hurdles coming up. Nothing that you haven't already seen and we haven't already addressed.
Is our change order process, is it moving at a pace that does not, you know what I mean? Because I know sometimes when you're dealing with the government, it could, cause a 2-month delay or something like that. I just want to make sure that our process in terms of getting the necessary documents that they need to have at the state level so they can, don't hold these guys up from doing that isn't a problem.
No, Dan and his team have been very good at processing the change orders. Dan, do you anticipate any future issues?
No, I think the way the state cap hub or capital management system online is that our understanding is once it has been approved in the potential change orders, the contractors are authorized to proceed, where the formality of combining them into a change order ultimately for the board vote is the final decision, but that doesn't hold up the contractor. Once we discuss them, and because the difficulty dealing with cap, often we discuss outside of that cap system. There's a back and forth in terms of scope, pricing, and with Fitchburg Housing fully in the sort of knowledge was by law, HL seeing the knowledge with us, and then looking at the scope. Sometimes there are ways to save money, more efficient way to do it. So we sort those out sort of outside. And so once the change order has been presented, many of the issue has already been sort of worked out, and that's kind of how it has been working. There are some critical path items, and credit to GBW that they let us know these things, if we don't resolve these, they're going to have schedule slippage and so on. So far has been good. So the change order that are presented today has already been sort of processed and moving forward and authorized by HLC.
Yeah, I'd like to mention that Jordan Hughes, the work that you've done in the relocation and the tenant coordination. I don't think I've received any complaints at all during that. And we're going to have another phase of relocation coming up, but it's a very intricate process. And rehabbing an existing building is much more difficult, obviously, than building a new building. And again, we're very happy how smoothly it has gone. And the state is another key partner as well. But I don't know, Andrew, if you want to make any more comments, any comments?
No, I don't have anything else to add.
And Bruce was a key factor in pushing for the plumbing issues and make sure we had funding for that moving forward and presenting it to the state saying, we're going to rehab this building at multiple millions of dollars, but we're going to leave existing plumbing issues still intact. And we're able to present challenges in the state in a very rational way. We're making such an investment in this property that we can't leave some items left, like a leaking plumbing system.
Right.
And the state's been very accommodating to that.
So I one of the other things I wanted, and I heard you talk earlier about the response time. If there's an issue, you get to either Dan and his team or the guys at GVW, and the consistency and the professionalism that comes back. The way I gauge that is based on how the tenants respond. And so we haven't gotten any calls from the mayor's office yet for tenants complaining, right? Because usually when they for some reason they think the mayor is in charge of this project, so they generally call the mayor's office, hey, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. But I spoke to the mayor, I think we spoke to her a few weeks ago, and she said she hasn't gotten one call from any complaints from tenants about the process. And I think that's a large part of relocation, communication, professionalism of your teams, and professionalism of Fitchburg Housing Authority. So it's a lot of people, a lot of moving parts that are working together to make sure that this happens. So I really, really appreciate you again. And my main thing is I want to make sure our tenants, it's already traumatizing enough to have to be told you got to get up and move over here. You know what I mean? Now they got to pick up all their belongings and move. So that's enough. So not adding to that stress for them is paramount to me.
I really got to thank Dan Chen and his partner, David Russ, that they organized the weekly meetings that we have, and they put the agenda together in the minutes to move everything forward. We have a standing weekly meeting. And so, that's really helped out a lot moving things forward. And I think that we discussed, if I'm wrong, that in the late summer of next year, we should have substantial completion with final completion in the fall of 2026. I think that's what we're shooting for. Any comment? Am I correct in that, Jim?
No, that is based on the last schedule update. And like I said, we've got one critical path item out there now that we've been working with Dan on, which involves softening stuff. And that, once we have that put to bed, we can do another overall schedule update. There were obviously, with addressing the issues, first phase is a lot longer than we had originally scheduled, but a lot of things are going together so much quicker than we anticipated. That we're going to make up a lot of time, and we actually did it type of dates to put to it now. So we get that schedule update, but that I believe is where the last update had us complete and out of there, was around December 2026. And we'll do an update once this last critical path item is done, and I think we can still be right around there.
The nice thing with the phasing is, like we've said, getting all the issues up in front of us. We know the answers for phase 2. We know the answers for phase 3. We'll be able to make up time on that schedule too. Just knowing ahead of time that this is a solution. We'll get it done, and we'll get it.
Do you have an anticipated timeline for the next relocation phase? Is that?
So we had talked about June. Is that the?
Well, so it's all going to be based off of the softened ductwork thing that we're working through now. So if that all comes together, I think right now we're probably like end of May, very beginning of June. We pull that together, quickly. We might be able to do a little better on it, but I think that's where we stand right now with the numbers I've run out. We've started all the finishes in the apartment. The kitchens are almost done. The countertops are going in. The flooring's starting next week. So it's just a matter of getting that last kind of hurdle out of the way, and we can really update. Your windows are showing up in 2 weeks, so And the whole building's windows are coming. That's another place we're gonna be picking up time on the further phases where you bought a real nice window system that took time to get. So when we do the next phase, as soon as we demo and abate a floor, we'll be putting windows in instead of waiting for them to come and doing it on the back end, which is gonna save mass amounts of time. But that's, just the last couple of things that really need to come together. And I see us right around end of May, beginning of June to move into the phase one. And we'll start right away on phase two. Everyone's gonna be ready to go.
They're beautiful windows, by the way. Absolutely great. Dan, you did a great job in the design and the installation, and just phenomenal. I know there was some issues on social media that this project was being paid for by Fitchburg taxpayers directly, and it's not being funded by property taxes. This is a housing livable community, affordable housing project. And I believe it's one of the largest contracts that the state has ever signed for housing modernization. And it's happening in Fitchburg. It's providing local jobs. It's money going through the local economy. And when it's completed, it's going to be a phenomenal asset to the people of Fitchburg. And George, I want to thank you. I want to thank Bruce and your team and Andrew. And Andrew's already talking to his leasing team about, we got a big task ahead of us. So we have to lease up. And we're excited about that.
So is it possible, maybe for the June update, maybe bring our city delegation in to see the progress?
That would be
It's
fantastic.
always, visual. I mean, you guys know as well as I know, you see the visual progress that's being made, kind of, especially in this climate where we don't know if the money's gonna, we don't know what's gonna happen. So I want them to see this is really working. This is what's happening. This is, for the betterment, not just, people in Fitchburg, but potential people moving in. You know what I mean? We could end up taking people in these homes from anywhere in the state, right? So we want to make sure that they see a visual progress. That's something that we can maybe talk about going forward.
I actually like that June actually walked through the state delegation in the mayor's office to show what's happening in the full board as well.
Our board meeting's gonna be there in June.
July.
July. No pressure, George, okay?
And you'll have it on the first floor, right? Community room?
Yes.
Yeah. So I see no issues if you want to schedule a walkthrough for that or even right before the move-in date that Jordan's coordinating. So
You tell us what's good for you.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, you probably want to do it before they move, right? So you guys can have free reign.
Right, we go into the apartments.
So that's, I think if you want to plan it sometime in April, we're gonna have units complete. We may not have all 15 floors, but we're gonna have floors complete with finishes towards the back end of April. So that's what would make sense to me. That way, we kind of can see everything, and if there is something that's not like dimensions, and you guys put an idea in Doug's head and we got to address it, we have time to do that before the moving date is set.
One of the other design elements is the outside livable area. And I've been working with a landscape architect designer that Dan Jen provided with us. I think we finalized the design. And I'm just waiting for a follow-up on one small revision that we made. So it's not going to be just the interior of the building. We're going to have a recreational area, and we're going to work with the YMCA so they can share that space as well. And it's going to be accessible, wheelchair accessible. And that's going to be a phenomenal project. It's going to be really one of the big gems of this housing authority in the history of the Fitchburg Housing Authority.
Very, very exciting. Very exciting. Thank you all. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Make sure you bid on a few.
thank you.
Oh, we got a few more coming up.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you so much. Great, we want to do it.
Right there?
Yeah, you almost got a seat, right? Jordan, wait, come on. Here, my hey there, can you take a photo?
I got you pulling up.
You want to show the banner?
Okay.
Want this banner?
Oh, yeah, you want
We're gonna do the board members.
Who's gonna take that picture?
Dan's gonna take the.
Right now.
Cheers.
You there?
There you go. Thanks for that.
You mean sleep all year?
No.
Our names are already.
Yeah.
You're not shy.
Oh, Cam's done, so we should get back to it.
No, you guys didn't work. You guys are working like that.
You signed a check, so.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you for having us.
Well, really, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're doing a good job. You get what you want.
I know.
Next time, season, you know, I'm not here. Then next time.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Okay, we're gonna,
You guys have to give us something to do.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
okay, we can continue on to the
Thanks, second.
regular agenda, Mr. Bosher.
This is oh, sure.
We are now jumping to.
You're on page 7, number 8.
Yeah.
Motion to approve fiscal year 2024 year-end closeout financials and related documents.
Now, have a motion, please.
So,
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Goodwin, seconded by Commissioner Cilio. Any questions on the motion?
so Doug, this is the piece of paper that Dan handed out before.
Right.
The only question I had, nothing was amiss or wrong to me. You're the executive director, Andy's the deputy, Bruce is the director of facilities, director of finance, I assume is Alicia?
Yes,
Okay, and plumber mechanic, is that a specific person or?
actually, director of finance, that was a former employee.
Okay, so what are we? So this is for 2024, I'm sorry.
Correct.
So it's Doug, Andy, Bruce, former employee, and plumber mechanic also former employee?
No, that's a typo. That is Gary Chanel, our maintenance foreman. I believe that's been verified.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay,
Where it says plumber mechanic, that should be, what should that say?
Maintenance foreman.
Maintenance foreman, so make sure we change that forward.
and our fiscal year is January to December, calendar year. So I'm comfortable with this for next year when we do this, or really anytime when we're having a conversation where it's position specific. If someone could just put it like, who exactly is that? Because I mean, I know what position you guys should fit. But director of finance, I understand why it might be not something to do with this particular list, but going forward. And especially if it's not even within the context of this format, but anytime you're speaking about a position, you know, I won't necessarily know who XYZ person is, and that would make it easier to.
Or is it listed in the full financial staff, we get the entire staff on that, is it listed there?
I'm not sure if it's listed. I don't know if it's cumulative. It would be listed in the budget, what the salary would be, not listed, it wouldn't be a cumulative.
Right.
I think this is the only cumulative report that you would receive.
No, I'm sorry, yes. So my other question is, he's a director of finance, a former employee, right, which I understand. What about the current? Should that be added into this?
If they didn't make the top 5, no.
Oh, because they've only had that position for 6 months-ish?
Probably less and not at the same rate.
So that person may make this list for 2025, but they didn't for 2024.
Yeah, well, yeah,
It's the easiest way to put it.
correct.
Okay.
Right. I do have a comment to make. On page 7, item number 8 in my report, I talked about the reserve rate was at 75%. I did talk to Sue Honeycutt to move some of those 400 program reserves over to our 689 program, which had much lower negative reserves because of the closing of 76 Mechanic Street. So that was done. So the final end of the year reserve rate for the 400 program is at 39%, which is what HLC has been doing is augmenting reserve balances. If it was presented as is, we would not reserve a anticipated augmentation to our reserves. But because of the proper allocation made by the fee accountant to the 609 program, there's a higher probability of an augmentation to our reserve balance in the 400 program. But the reality is we had a phenomenal year. The rents were up. And how Alicia, working with Bruce Budrick and the maintenance team of processing the force account work orders, getting them in, getting our admin fee for the multitude of construction projects. We have a conveyor belt now. And it's worked out very, very nicely. And so the team's done a phenomenal job. It took a lot of fits and starts to get to this point, but Alicia and her team and Bruce and his team, they've got it down pretty bad. We're no longer sitting on receivables. We're processing them very quickly.
Good, that's excellent. All right, all in favor? Well, we already voted. Any more comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Mr. Bookman.
Very quick, our budget was reverted for a couple of technical reasons, and I've worked out those bugs. I just got to resubmit today. I want to thank Cam for helping me out on that. And Andrew, we had to take 174 Milk Street, which was in our federal, it was in both our federal and state portfolio. I had to remove it from our state portfolio because it's no longer a federal housing property. But I worked out the kinks and we resubmitted the budget today or tomorrow. And we should receive approval sometime in March.
Thank
you. Page number 8, item number 10, motion to approve payables.
I have a motion for the motion.
I do.
Sorry,
Mr. Chair, did you vote on the financial fiscal year closeout?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. And now we're going to item number 9 on the agenda on page 8.
Number 10.
Number 10.
Yeah. Motion to approve the payables for February 2025. Now a motion, please.
So
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Goodwin, seconded by Commissioner Vasilio. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Quick note, item 11 in my report, we're getting ready for our audit season, and I've signed engagement letters, begin the audit, and the CMAP is in process and should be submitted by tomorrow. Item number 11 on page 9 of my report, motion to approve SSP grant submittal for HLC Public Housing Notice 2024-21.
Now, motion for item number 11 on the agenda, motion to approve the SSP grant submittal.
So
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Goodwin, seconded by Commissioner Spillane. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Mr. Wilson.
Item number, next item, motion to approve submittal of the CONMOD grant for HLC Public Housing Notice 2025-02.
So moved by item, motion made by Commissioner Goodwin, seconded by Commissioner Vasilio. Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Mr. Wilson.
Just on both motions you just approved, I've been working with staff to prepare submittals for both of these grants. I'm very excited about both of them, especially the mod grant, the Green Acres. That's the property we identified. As we move forward, I will need to be calling up the chair for various signatures on the final grant submissions. Kind of a tight timeline. And I've had some discussions with Unitel about some funds for the Green Acres project, but and the SSP grant operates like the FSS grant for Section 8.
And now the Brianna is killing it with that.
Yes,
So you want it.
absolutely.
And so, that's it.
Item number 14, motion to approve application certificate of payment for Wallace Tower. Number 3.
Yeah, may I have a motion, for item number 14 on the agenda?
Motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Basilio, seconded by Commissioner Spillane. Any questions on the motion?
No.
Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 14, motion to approve change order mechanics, motion to approve change order of Wallace Tower. Item 13, change order number 2. It's on page 10 of my report.
Page 10 of the report, item number 15, motion to approve change order for Wallace Tower project.
So,
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Goodwin, seconded by Commissioner Basilio. Any questions on the motion?
That's all the extras for plumbing and the plumbing valves and stuff like that they found when they open up the walls.
Yeah, yes, that and probably some other items as well.
It's all listed on attachment M on the document.
Yeah, and the attachment M, right?
It's the electrical permit fee reimbursement, the feeder breaker panel, residential kitchen abatement and reinstall, adding penthouse panel, under cabinet lighting, riser enclosure, ERV, community room modifications per bulletin number 5, and generator signal wire relocation. And that total is $163,677.88, which is 1% of the total contract.
The building permit costs $147,000 for that project. You know that we're paying to the city. Just like, you know, they better be doing a lot of inspections for that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, I couldn't hear you.
The building permit was $147,000 for the project. And I'm saying the building inspector better be there all the time.
We'll find out, right? Okay. All right, motion been made and seconded. Any other questions on the motion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Mr. Wilson.
Motion to approve change order for Mechanic Street, change order number 1.
Okay, item number 16 in the board report, page number 10, motion to approve change order.
Which is well, yeah. Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Spillane and seconded by Commissioner Basilio. Any questions on the motion?
Yeah, what's the changes for the?
what is it like that?
Yes, this is the Mechanic Street project. This is on attachment N. And the list here is there's 3 change order proposals that we've already discussed and approved with the state, which is bathroom alternates. They're making some changes in bathrooms that were not originally planned. Second floor door removal and infill, and installing a new exterior privacy fence.
When this project first came up, this project has been in the works for a while. You really weren't sure with the use of the property, but obviously, now that we've done more with shelters, I had Ada and the Director of Housing for the city, Marilyn Cruz, take a look at the property and the end use of new shelter. And they made various recommendations for changes. Some other future change orders will include adding a washer and laundry facilities up to the second floor. There's going to be some other future ones as well about a new roof and some other items, but the product is going along very, very nicely.
And who's the contractor there?
That is
Pool construction.
Yeah, from Sterling. Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
the clerk of the works for the Wallace Tower project is also the clerk of the works for the 76 Mechanic project. And we actually have live meetings there as well.
I told you, you can bring him before the board so that we didn't give him a hard time.
Yes, he's a Leominster resident from Leominster.
He's a Leominster resident. Well, he's a Ridge guy.
Oh, really?
Oh, geez.
He's very knowledgeable. He's watching out for our money. He's
Good.
looking out for us as far as I
We
see.
definitely once again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, all in favor? Motion carries, Mr. Bushman.
Item number 17 on page 10, motion to approve the site location for our new community center and administration offices at Green Acres.
All right. Motion to approve item number 17 on page 10 of the board report. So
Second.
motion made by Commissioner Goodwin and seconded by Commissioner Vasilio. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Mr. Bushman.
Just so you know, you picked option C, which is in your report. I want to thank the advisory, the subcommittee that has worked on this. And a lot of input. We actually did a polling to the staff. And I have to tell you, I want to thank Andrew as well. And it's been many, many years. And the vehicle entry point, what the team thought years ago that was always the natural entry point to the new site, but no other design teams wanted to knock down buildings to get through there in Lehigh. But after looking at various concepts, I think all of us fell in love with, most of us fell in love with option C. And we look forward to moving forward. Tomorrow, they're going to be on site testing the grounds, see if there's anything buried behind there. I don't know. But it's taken us a long time to get to this point, and we are anticipating a ground selection of a contractor this year and a groundbreaking next year, and completion in 2027.
You're not gonna have no problems with the test building or anything. That's why we don't decide where it's there. No. Because it's like that, dump it over there.
So we're looking for a motion, item number 18, page number 10 of the report, motion to approve the HCV home ownership program.
I believe we tabled that motion until next month, because there were questions about the administration of the program that Doug or someone is going to talk about at the National Neighborhood Convention, which is happening this month. That will give us the clarity we need to vote on that motion next month.
I thought we moved to vote on this.
So we originally tabled it to vote on it this month.
Yeah.
But then Doug said, based on the questions we had,
Right.
Doug said this would be a perfect thing to talk to someone about at the national meeting.
Yeah.
Because Hub Reps will be there.
Okay.
So I don't think we have to table it again.
I don't know with the, I could see us tabling it into the April meeting.
Well, also we haven't moved on, it, so we can just not do anything and take it up next month.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll move it to our next meeting. Anything else, Mr. Bushman?
No, we've, you'll see reflected in next month's vacancy report that we've had a dramatic, finally, we've worked out, the champ system. After you pull off this, you'll get good responses. We've leased up, how many units today?
We've had 7 that have been done so far, and there's another 7 that are scheduled between today and tomorrow. So we have 14 units leased up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we, Milk Street leased up. Well, 2 of the families for the Housing Now program have been leased, I believe they've been leased up, 2 of them out of the 3. And so, things are moving forward. I'm very, very pleased. And, things are looking very good. I'd say things, it was an interesting year last year, a lot of aspects, but things are starting to really catch on fire. And the construction is really ramping up. And so
I would like to make one comment for the deputy director. Without looking what the numbers of this graph said, I looked at it quickly, I was terrified. Wow, 1,000 units. I was like, that made a huge difference. Yeah. So just keep in mind, I'm not paying as much attention as everybody, and it's easy to scare me and stuff like that.
I also want to hand out, handbooks for board members. Cam, thank you. I mentioned briefly to Cam to order these and they came in.
Thanks, sir.
I have nothing else. You want to, if you had any comments?
Unless I had any questions about the report.
All right, board report was submitted for our review prior to the meeting. Is there anyone that's anything in the remaining part of the board with, executive report that you would like to bring out or have questions about? Just state the item number and a page number, that we can go right to it. Mr. Goodwin? Mr. Vasilio? Mr. Swain? All right, Mr. We want you to go there. Well, okay, sure. Yeah, motion to adjourn. So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.